Okay, so to start off with, we have the Nine of Swords upright, Six of Cups upright, and the King of Wands in reverse. Okay, so it feels like they've realized you've gone through a lot of heavy stuff alone, that circumstances have made you mentally resilient, and you don't really turn that you've experienced or currently experience a lot of sleepless nights, maybe due to circumstances, schedule, or maybe it's just something that you experience, for whatever reason. They do think you're anxious, or they feel like they've realized that you're anxious in their opinion, that you it feels like they've recognized that you seem a lot more sensitive on the surface than you actually are. They find it hard to get through to you. They've also realized that you're not overthinking things when it comes to them. They've realized that you've been through a lot of overwhelming situations, but you survived. And for some of you, they've realized that they wouldn't have been able to handle a lot of the things that you've dealt with, in their opinion, they've realized that certain circumstances that have made you harsh, and that sometimes your actions hurt them. They realize that they don't really understand you. They can't really resonate with you. They recognize that you don't typically ask for help. And you've also made them realize that a person is stronger than their fears or their circumstances. And it feels like they've realized that you might be afraid of emotional depth. For some of you, they realize that you are releasing guilt. And it feels like you've also made them realize the weight a person can carry, especially the weight a person carries when they don't speak about their issues or about their pain, or doesn't have, the appropriate amount of help or just the right kind of help. And you made them realize that mental health isn't linear, it isn't straightforward, it isn't black and white, that it comes in waves with breakthroughs and setbacks. And, growth can be invisible, to the person who is experiencing poor mental health, or, maybe people from the outside looking in. But yeah, you've made them they realize that you're not super emotional or sentimental. For some of you, they could feel that you come across that way on the surface. But when it really comes down to it, that you're not all they realize that you don't really give freely, like to everyone. Again, like you are quite selective in their perspective. But again, in their opinion, they've realized that normally your heart is quite closed off. But with the people, and they've also realized that you are innocent in some way. Like vindicated, is that the right word? Yeah, like you're innocent in a vindicated kind of way. This could mean different things for different people. Like for some of you, they could feel that you're innocent in a way where like you've been you're also innocent maybe in terms of like your soul, and like who you are on the inside, even if you don't really show that part of yourself that much. But in some way, in their perspective, they've realized that you are innocent. And you've also made them realize that they need to connect with themselves again. They've also recognized that they do feel like they've known you forever. And you've made them realize that emotional depth and connection doesn't have to be overwhelming. That they do have a lot of passion for you, but they don't really know how to maybe show it. So for some of you, they realize how they've been pressuring you to take the lead, or to just do something that maybe that they shouldn't be pressuring you into. And they realize that you don't need clarity from them. You don't need to be pushed by them. For some of you, they've also recognized that you might be feeling demotivated when it comes to certain areas of your life, when it comes to certain things. maybe in love or career or just like personal goals or something else that you're more aware of. But in their perspective, they also realize that you're playing a role when it comes to certain people in your life. They realize that they do doubt themselves a lot more when they're around you, or maybe when it comes to your relationship or certain things within your relationship. Also realize that you're not someone that pretends to have all the answers, and that you are typically quite authentic, you know, good and bad. But moving on, we have let yourself feel all of your emotions. We have value your self-worth. We have lottery, bet on yourself. And we also have simple pleasures. So with let yourself feel all of your emotions, they've realized that you may not do that. You may not allow yourself to feel all of your emotions, that you do tend to keep certain things bottled up, in their opinion. With lottery, bet on yourself, like that's something they realize about you, that you are going to bet on yourself, that you are going to rely mainly on number one, you know, on yourself. So with simple pleasures, in their perspective, so it says look for beauty all around you, and in their perspective, they've realized that you don't tend to see the beauty of maybe the simple things around you at times, that sometimes maybe it's not easy for you to like absorb the, you know, beauty that's around you and not really take it in. And finally, with value your self-worth, they've realized that in their opinion, you need to value yourself a whole lot more than what they think you currently do. Because they've realized in their perspective that you are an extremely valuable person, but they may not feel that you have that same perspective on yourself, whether it's in general or just when it comes to specific areas. But yeah, that is all I have though. For those of you who chose this group, I'm wishing you guys the best.